So, the last story that I needed to review in the first series of the Eighth Doctor Adventures was the fifth story, No More Lies. Effectively, the final story in the first series of the Eighth Doctor Adventures is actually Human Resources, but I already did a video of that one. I'll stick it up here somewhere if I remember to do so. But the final story that I need to review of the first series is No More Lies. It was the fifth story in the Eighth Doctor Adventures and the sixth episode overall, and it was written by Paul Sutton and first broadcast on the 4th of February 2007 before becoming available across CD and download in June of that same year. Now, the Eighth Doctor, voiced once again by Paul McGann, and his companion Lucy Miller, voiced by Sheridan Smith, they're chasing down a kind of human named Nick Zimmerman, voiced by Nigel Havers, aboard a Tar Modoc ship. However, Zimmerman manages to escape in an escape pod and eventually makes it to Earth in 2006. The Doctor and Lucy follow close behind, and actually find that Zimmerman has actually seems to have kind of reformed, changed his life and changed his ways. I mean, he's set up shop in the English countryside, and it's been a couple of years since, and he is married, or at least together, with a woman named Rachel, voiced by Julia Mackenzie, and her younger brother Gordon Davidson, voiced by Tom Chadbourne. However, while the Doctor and Lucy are kind of prying around just trying to see what's going on and try and retrieve the technology that Zimmerman stole, the house is attacked by the Tar Modoc as well as Vortisaurs. Now, Vortisaurs are a pterodactyl-like creature that actually previously appeared in Doctor Who's Big Finish stories with the Eighth Doctor and Charlie Pollard. They're actually in Charlie's first few stories, Storm Warning, Sword of Orion and the like. And actually, it is nice to see them recognise that, as the Doctor does mention, I kept a Vortisaur as a pet for a few weeks, which is nice to see. It's also nice to have another appearance in the Whoniverse of Nigel Havers. Now, this is 2007, so this would have been Kev Havers' first go in the Whoniverse, but he would later return in 2009 in the 5th and 6th episodes of the spin-off The Sarah Jane Adventures, in the 5th and 6th episode of Series 3, The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, where he would play Sarah Jane's fiancé, Peter Dalton, in 2009. Now, it is nice to see him once again. I mean, like I said with Immortal Beloved and Ian McNeice, that he would eventually return to Doctor Who, and Bernard Cribbins in Horror of Glam Rock. It is nice just to hear him once again. He's got a very kind of nice tone. But then the Doctor and Lucy managed to figure out that effectively this is a time loop. People are aware that things seem to be repeating themselves. And it does lead to a rather tragic ending. I mean, yes, they do have to deal with the Vortisaurs and the Tar Modoc making their way through, but then it's eventually revealed that the reason why this has been set up like a time loop is because Nick's partner, Rachel, is actually dying, and so he created this time loop just so that they could spend time together. And just, he didn't have to lose her. I mean, like I said in Immortal Beloved, it's not so much the time that matters, it's the person, and he's just been eking it out for as long as he can. But sometimes rather tragic here. I mean, you know he did terrible things, but then by the end of it, you still you want to see him get happily ever after, but you know he can't have it, and it's rather tragic to listen to. But anyway, this is one of those stories that I do think it's probably better than I give it credit for, so have a listen to it for yourself, and at the end, it does leave on a rather big cliffhanger leading into the final story of this particular season, which was, as I said, Human Resources, as the headhunter, voiced once again by Katarina Olsen, finally catches up with Lucy Miller and teleports her away, abducts her, leaving the cloister bells ringing in the TARDIS, as the Doctor knows that Lucy came assigned to him by the Time Lords, and now that Lucy's not there, something is going very, very wrong, leading us into the final story of the Eighth Doctor Adventures first series, Human Resources. So, but now, having listened to every single story of the first series, in terms of my ranking, this will only take a short time, but down at the bottom, as I'd say, I think the weakest story of the first series of the Eighth Doctor Adventures for me would be Phobos. I mean, it's not a terrible story. It's got a creative setup with an amusement park on Mars for thrill seekers. I don't know, just everything else in this particular series, I just kind of felt it slipped down the list. Coming up one spot to number 5, I personally would put this story, No More Lies. I mean, as I said, I do think it's a good story, and I do like that Nigel Havers kind of starred this story, but as I said, there are other stories I did think were better than this one. Up one spot at number 4, I would put Immortal Beloved. Now, I was thinking about this last night, and originally I had Immortal Beloved at number 5 and No More Lies at number 4. The reason why now I'm putting Immortal Beloved at number 4 is because it actually, when I look back on it, it did actually get me thinking about the kind of ethics of the situation. Like, having a clone made, but then the clone develops its own personality, is it then okay just to wipe its own memory in order to implant someone else's consciousness into it? I mean, if a story can get you thinking like that, then I actually thought it got me thinking a lot more than No More Lies did, which I did think was pretty good. My number 3 would probably go to the first story, Blood of the Daleks. I mean, it was the first one, it started things off, it gave us a great introduction to Sheridan Smith's Lucy, and it's got Hayley Atwell in it, and an appearance in Doctor Who by Hayley Atwell, given where she is now in her fame, it's nice to hear her get a role. My number 2, narrowly missing out on the top spot, is Horror of Glam Rock. I mean, it's got Bernard Cribbins in it. What more do you want? But my number 1 would go to the finale story, Human Resources. I mean, it rounded off a great first series, and it's got my favourite Doctor Who monster, the Cybermen, in a great story role. So, yeah, for me, that is the best story of the first series of the Eighth Doctor Adventures. But, anyway, what's your ranking? I'd love to know your thoughts on No More Lies down in the comments, or I'd like to know what your favourite story in the first series of the Big Finish Eighth Doctor Adventures is. Let me know. Anyway, until next time, see ya.